On your Tuesday episode of Locked On Raptors, Brandon Ingram is one of the dudes, and last night, boy oh boy, did he ever look like a guy.
You are Locked On Raptors, your daily Toronto Raptors podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, what's going on? And welcome to another episode of Locked On Raptors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It is Tuesday, November the 25th, and I am your host, Sean Woodley. I've been covering the Toronto Raptors now for 12 seasons on various platforms. You can get all my work over on Blue Sky. You can find the show on Instagram. You can join us in the Locked On Raptors Discord server. Link in the description of the podcast, 100% free to join as always. And let me tell you, it is so fun talking about a winning team in the Discord with our friends. Come join. We'd love to have you be part of our listener community, especially while the getting is good. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. And we're off and running here on a game recap episode of the pod, talking about a 110-99 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, who the Toronto Raptors are the fathers of this season, apparently. 3-0 now against the Cavs. 8 wins in a row for your Toronto Raptors, who rank 5th in offense and 4th in defense per our pals at Clean the Glass. It's incredible. We're going to talk about the late game defensive stretch that sealed this one up. We've got the good, the bad, and the as we always do, but we got to talk off the top about Brandon Ingram and his 37-point season high. And here to do that and all the other stuff we got on deck here today is a man who was in person last night on behalf of the Locked On Enterprise. It is Vivek Jacob. Big V, how the hell are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. Just what a first game of the season to be at. Brandon Ingram doing Brandon Ingram things. And Michael Grange, Sportsnet's Michael Grange asked him, when did you know that this was going to be a big game for you? And his first answer, the first words out of his mouth was, well, hey, RJ was out of the lineup. And he was just kind of like, hey, so I knew I was going to have to do more. The offense was going to need more. And then, he was kind of like started out good. And so you just keep riding it. And before you know it, man's dropping 37 on your head.
Ooh, particularly on Naquan Tomlin's head. Poor guy. It wasn't the only one. Everyone got some poured on their head last night. But yeah, just incredible stuff from Ingram. This is why you get this guy, right? Like, it's been lovely to watch him blend into a beautiful, egalitarian, everybody eats offense. And that, I think, is the strength of this team and will continue to be so when they're at full health. But yeah, missing RJ Barrett, you knew the offense was going to take a little bit of a hit, just not having that, rim pressure, the off-ball cutting, the sort of chemistry he's shown with Brandon Ingram. I thought Jacoby Walter acquitted himself fine as the starter. Only 5 points, but I thought he played some nice defense. The process was pretty good overall, even though he shot just 2 for 8, 1 of 5 from downtown. Didn't dislike that game from him whatsoever, but he's just not the same potent offensive player that RJ Barrett is. And yeah, it was going to fall on someone to do a little bit more scoring. And of course, Brandon Ingram is the guy who's most qualified to go and do that. 15 of 30 overall in this one, 5 of 11 from deep V. That's huge. Took 11 threes. Like, that is awesome to see. 7 boards, 2 assists, a steal, plus 11. I thought he was really good defensively in this game as well. Just length, arms everywhere. I think, to me, the big takeaway from this one, Ingram-wise, is him doing that, going for 37, carrying the day offensively, on a night where it was arguably the worst offensive performance the Raptors have had all season long by the numbers. The half-court offense was not good. They had a pretty bad offensive rating overall in the night. But I think it's emblematic of this team having a whole bunch of different ways they can win, which is a hallmark of good, serious teams. It doesn't have to be by the book formula. Everyone has 22 points and everyone's, kind of sharing the ball and everyone's friends. You can have games where Ingram just kind of says, okay, it's the Brandon offense now. And yeah, it got sticky at times. I didn't love a lot of the late game offensive possessions down the stretch in this one. I thought they got a little bit too cute with the Brandon do something offense, but ultimately you couple that with the defense, which we'll talk about later on in the show. Really impressive stuff. And this is why you go and get a guy who can put up 37 points on 15 of 30 they haven't had a guy like this in quite some time, Big V. What were your overall impressions of the way in which Ingram got to his 37 in this game?
Yeah, I think first off for me was, the Cavs just decided that they weren't going to go with a double team and kind of see what the others would have. And they said, hey, single coverage. Let's see what BI's got. Not just, hey, even if he's hot early, like he's come off this long layoff with the injury. Let's see if he can sustain it for four quarters, right? And let's see if he has the legs to kind of go deep with this thing and just be in single coverage and say, hey, okay, if this is how you're going to defend me, this is how I'm going to keep coming at you. And I thought that was probably the most impressive part for me. The fact that, his conditioning, everything seemed good. The fact that, as you mentioned, like, he was still giving effort defensively, got some really important defensive boards, some good rotations as well. And so I think that is something that is super encouraging for me. I asked him after the game how he was feeling physically, after taking 30 shots and having to do everything he did in this game. And he was like, yeah, I feel good. Like,
awesome.
The fourth quarter came and I felt like my conditioning was good. Like I was not tired. And I think the other part of this is you create another conundrum for opponents now in terms of devising a scheme against the Raptors, because they've seen what doubling Ingram looks like. Yeah. And so now you've seen what going with single coverage does for you. And, maybe there'll be other teams with better tricks up their sleeve than Tomlin, but for this game, I thought it was important for the Raptors to be able to show like, hey, like if you think if this is the poison you want to pick, then we'll beat you this way too.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that great teams do, right? Is they make you make decisions, and they're tough decisions, and there's not really a right decision in the bunch. And the way this Raptors offense is humming, yeah, like you are kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. If Ingram is going off like that and you're not going to send extra attention, if it's going to be single coverage with Naquan Tomlin, or even in the cases where you throw Evan Mobley or somebody else who's a little more equipped at Ingram, you're just kind of daring him to go and do his incredible shot making thing. And if you're going to send doubles, our pal Joe Wolfon, I know, posted about this last night, that, when the Raptors see a double on Ingram in the post, they're scoring like a bazillion points per possession out of those. It's true. They're scoring 1.28 points per possession when Brandon Ingram gets doubled in the post per synergy. It's incredible. And, it's also really good when they're not doubling him. He's just like, he's doing everything on those post-ups to kind of dictate what's happening in the offense. I think it's been really interesting how the Raptors have used post-ups as this sort of source of offense for them. And I think it makes sense that it is a thing they kind of flow through because they're so good. I think the real strength of this team, V, and maybe less so with no RJ Barrett, but I still think the other guys they have offer some potency in this regard as well. I think the strength of this team is the way they attack the second side. They're just so good at taking a defense that's been tilted, that's recovering, that's out of position, and just, again, I've said this before, layering advantage on advantage on advantage. And they're just so damn good when they get the ball swinging side to side. They reverse the ball, they reverse the defense, they make them think, and then all of a sudden they've got these sort of dudes just plunging into the defense, whether it's a Quickley or Shead drive and kick, whether it's Scotty Barnes getting it with a guy closing out and kind of off kilter out of position, and he's just blowing right by him for a finish. Ingram did that a couple times as well, where it swung to him. We saw like the second possession of the game where the Cavs called a quick timeout. Scotty's got it over on the left wing. They run a little intricate action to, bust open Ingram on the right side. They cross court the pass, boom, 3, timeout, Cavs mad, whatever. Like, they're just really good at flipping the play and keeping defenses in constant movement and motion. And Ingram is obviously just kind of the guy who's unlocked that the most of anybody on the team. It's a damn thrill. Any sort of parting shots here on the performance of Ingram? Like, again, I think for me, I would like to see them try to play a little bit more within their classic principles, than they did when they just kind of handed it to Ingram for a whole bunch of ISO possessions down the stretch, especially with Mobley being a guy who was up in those actions quite a bit. But again, can't really complain with the end result. An efficient 37 carries the day. Any last thoughts here before we move on to the defense and how they close this one down?
Yeah, I think in terms of the possessions down the stretch, like it's kind of just recognizing when you've won the battle, right? And initially as soon as Ingram makes that step triple on Tomlin, they change up the matchups, and it's pretty much Alonzo Ball or Evan Mobley defending the rest of the way. So at that point, you've created the havoc, and so at that point, I'm saying, okay, if they've put Tomlin now on Scotty, get it to Scotty. Let Scotty have a go at him.
Yep.
And so, I'm sure that type of stuff is what they'll review over the film. And at the same time, this was Ingram's best night as a Raptor so far. And, we're all watching it, the things he was doing second quarter, third quarter. I think it's perfectly understandable if your teammates are seeing that live right next to you. You're saying, hey, man, we're just going to get you the ball and get out the way.
Yeah, far be it from me to question someone doing a heat check. I fully endorse that behavior at all times in every form of basketball, be it an NBA game against the Cleveland Cavaliers or me at pickup after I've hit exactly one 3-pointer and I'm feeling myself. We will get into how they weathered that less than stellar finish offensively with some incredible crunch time defense, and maybe just talk about the defense as a whole, which is now up to 4th in the NBA. We'll also get into the 2-point guard lineup, which is an absolute joy to watch. We'll get into all that coming up as we continue to break down this win. Your 8th in a row for the Toronto Raptors coming up in just one sec. Today's show is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channel that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all in one platform. And you can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from your money. You expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. Today's show is also brought to you by DripDrop. And look, I'm someone who constantly feels dehydrated. I forget to drink fluids all the time. And it's hard to deny that when I'm hydrated, I'm just a better version of myself. Everything works better. I'm focused. I got more energy. I got better mood. My skin feels better. I should be much better at hydrating myself. It's a pretty core basic life skill that I stink at, but that's why DripDrop is amazing. It's a doctor-developed hydration that keeps me running at full power no matter what my day looks like. DripDrop isn't your average sports drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Right now, you can go to DripDrop and get that hydration that I desperately need as well. Right now, DripDrop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to DripDrop.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's DripDrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20, 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard, and keep your body and mind performing at their best with DripDrop. Go check it out. Back at it here with Vivek Jacob, Big V, talking about a Toronto Raptors 110-99 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers, who they are now 3-0 against, which seems important in an Eastern Conference that's going to be close down to the wire, I think, and already sealed up that tiebreaker. 2-0 against the Hawks. They've got wins against the Sixers and Bucks as well. All very important early season dubs for your 13-5 2-seed Toronto Raptors. And yeah, let's get into what they did down the stretch defensively in this game, V, because I think as incredible as Ingram was, they won this game because they absolutely locked it in down the stretch. In particular, there was one possession, which I'm sure we'll totally fawn over in a second here, but over the final 4:35, after Donovan Mitchell hits a couple threes to pull to 103-99 with 4:35 to go, Raptors call a timeout. They come with the two-point guard lineup out of the timeout with Shead and Quickley in the backcourt with Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle across the front line. And they do not give up a single thing for the rest of the game. They got helped by some questionable shot selection. In particular, Lonzo Ball, who was going through it in this game, had a really weird early clock transition 3, kind of a desperation one after the Raptors had kind of extended the lead a little bit. Donovan Mitchell misses a couple of threes. The Raptors, though, I think just incredibly locked in, very connected, and continue to just be very good defensively down the stretch of close games. An 85.7 defensive rating in crunch time so far this season, Big V, and they're 6-2 in these crunch time games. What were your impressions of the way they locked this one down on the defensive end of the final 4:35 in particular?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And, I think when you call that timeout 103.99, Raptors are up 4, but you can feel a bit of momentum going the Cavs' way. But I felt confident that the Raptors were just going to come out strong and close it out. And the way they defended that possession, where Quickley and Shead were just all over Donovan Mitchell. They forced the ball out of his hands. Ingram rotates perfectly. Jakob Poeltl rotates to the corner, and then Scottie is able to anticipate the pass inside and makes the steal. That was just a perfect encapsulation of what this defense has been post the first 5 games. And I think that said it all. I think for me, watching the Lonzo 3, that was so Yako is actually trailing the play. And so I got the impression that Lonzo was thinking, hey, I've got like a semi okay look here, and Yak's not in the play. So there should be an opportunity to offensive rebound if I miss. And then Brandon Ingram just skies up to go get it. And I think that's another part of BI's game. The rebounding has just been really, really great. And yeah, all of that coming together, the way Shead and Quickley defend together, and like they were so on top of what Mitchell was trying to do. Like Mitchell had 7 points going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And yeah, he tacked on another 10 in the fourth. That's what great players do. And those 2 threes he hit were what forced the timeout in the first place. And you're thinking, okay, he's really getting hot, but he forced up a couple looks, kind of thinking he got fouled or anticipating a foul. So kudos to Jamal Shead on those. And yeah, I think overall just a phenomenal job between all 5.
Yeah, that possession, I want to zero in on it a little bit more. The one, it was about 2:20 left in the game. And just like every element of that possession was just so crisp and clean from the Raptors defense. First, you have Quickley blowing up a DHO between Lonzo Ball and Tomlin on the left wing. Just refuses to get screened, totally denies the ball, and they have to go to the next action where they flip it over to Mitchell on the right wing. Then you have Mitchell sizing up Jamal Shead, drives right. You have Scottie Barnes in the strong side corner, just kind of there, warding things off. Shead stops the drive anyway, doesn't really need the help, but Scottie's there regardless. And then you have Mitchell kind of pivot left out of that. Quickley comes over for the quick stunt, forces the ball back over to Ball. And then you have Ingram coming out of the dunker spot, rotating up, pressuring Ball. And then as that's happening, Scottie's rotating over from the far corner all the way back to the dunker spot and gets the steal on the entry pass. Just like super locked in, everyone on the string, really impressive stuff. And then I thought another underrated possession defensively down the stretch was there was a long rebound. I think it might have been off of an Ingram miss, but a long rebound going back the other way. Mitchell kind of gets it on the trot, and it's like him and Tomlin, I think they seem to have maybe a 2-on-1-ish. Ingram just scurries back. It gets into the way of the passing lanes and prevents a pass to Tomlin underneath. And then Quickley just picks up Mitchell, and Mitchell puts up a pretty kind of rushed 3 in semi-transition, misses, goes back the other way. Just like half-court transition, all of it really good. I thought Quickley, it was really good defensively in this game. Great to see from him after his rough, miserable start to the year. He was not always the one on Mitchell. Jamal Shead obviously had a lot to do with the 6 of 20 night that Mitchell had as well. Mitchell obviously is carrying a huge burden for this team too. You feel like that's probably weighing on him a little bit, but I thought Quickley was just outstanding. And I mean, that dovetails nicely to the 2-guard lineup stuff, because this lineup, man, is just so damn good. They completely blitz the Cavs to close the first half. They go on like a 13-2 run to close the quarter. I think the last half of that was all the 2-guard lineup, and then they totally shut it down the stretch. They won their minutes 10-0, Big V. Like 10-0. They didn't give up a point with the 2-guard lineup on the floor. It's just working so well. What have you liked about the Quickley, Shead, Ingram, Barnes, Poeltl look in particular?
So offensively, I just feel like Quickley's in a more comfortable role where, he can think about his shot first, and he's getting some really good looks off of Shead's playmaking. I think that it also simplifies the role for Jamal. And I think, when he maybe has a bit too much going on, he can just trust Quickley in those situations. And, he also knows that, as a guard, if he's usually on the court with like a Jacoby or an Ochai, it's you kind of trying to figure out where the points will come from the backcourt, right? And you're not thinking about that at all with IQ next to you. And then defensively, I think the synergy is great. I think that's where it really, really stands out, and that's where everything seems connected, and the rotations are perfect, and the ball pressure is exactly what Darko envisioned. And that's what's also creating the easier looks coming down the floor. And so, yeah, I think it starts with the defense. But I think, again, there's just like a role clarity there for IQ on the offensive end that really simplifies everything.
Yeah, and just like having two guards who at any time can kind of create paint pressure, spray it out. It's just, it's really effective both ways. I'm having a ton of fun with it. And I think, we talked a couple weeks ago on the show about it might have been a solo show I did about looking for core lineups and trying to find these are our staples. These are the ones we're going to kind of hang our hats on. They found one here with the Quickley, Shead, Ingram, Barnes, Pirtle. Like the size across the front court accounts for the smaller backcourt. The rim pressure, both of the guards can provide. The shooting, obviously, from Quickley and Shead, who apparently just never misses threes now. It's all just really working in sync. Shead plus Quickley lineups, 108 possessions this year per clean the glass fee, 100th percentile differential, a plus 26.8 net rating for those two on the floor together. In particular, the lineup with Ingram, Barnes, and Pirtle, only 22 possessions so far. That's not enough. They should play more. Plus 64 net rating in those 22 possessions, a 141 offensive rating, and a 77 defensive rating. Ridiculous. We're going to come back on the other side here, Big V. Get into the good, the bad, and the as we round out our discussion of the Raptors' 8th win in a row. We'll do that coming up in just 1 second. Today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time, the single best place to buy tickets for the sporting events you want to go to. And look, the Toronto Raptors are a hot ticket right now, and nothing beats seeing the Raptors in person when they're good. The fans have been fantastic. The crowds have been juiced, and the players are talking about how awesome it's been to play in front of those fun Raptors crowds. And you can be one of those people hooting and hollering by going to Game Time and getting tickets for the next home Raptors game, which is Wednesday against the Indiana Pacers. Our old pal Pascal Siakam back in town. Game Time is the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. They got zone deals, which are a game changer. You just pick the section, Game Time picks your seats, and you save big. And this is great, particularly in an arena like Scotiabank Arena, where there's no bad seats. Everywhere's got a good view. They're just going to pick a section for you, and you're not got to worry about picking the seats individually, and you're going to get a discount as well. That's pretty sweet. You can find NBA tickets for all kinds of cheap, fair deals by just going and perusing at Game Time. You get seat views, all that good stuff, and there's no surprise fees at checkout. What you see when you click on the ticket is what you're going to pay when you go and check out. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Down the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Wrapping things up here with the good, the bad, and the It's the way we wrap up every single episode of this podcast on the heels of a Toronto Raptors basketball game. A thing we liked, a thing we didn't like, a thing that's got a little intrigue from the latest in Toronto Raptors hoops. I'm doing pretty good at that. I'm going full auctioneer mode. I only stumbled over like 4 of the words, which I think is a pretty good percentage. What's your good? What you got for me?
My good. I hope everyone can hear me, because I realize now that my neighbor has decided to drill something extremely vigorously. Are
they making a little peephole into your apartment? They just want to
I don't know what's going on.
Make podcasts
like
in real time.
Apparently, watching they can't wait the half hour before the show is uploaded on YouTube.
Unbelievable. We're gonna have words with your upstairs neighbors.
But
what was your good though? Outside of my good, living in a house without neighbors.
My good is just looking back on the game. The Raptors went on a 15-4 run to close the second quarter. They went on a 15-7 run to close the third quarter. They go on a 7-0 run to close out that fourth quarter. And quick maths, that is 37 to 11 to close out those quarters. I mean, that's pretty much the difference in the game. We mentioned the Quickley and Shead lineups, and obviously Quickley and Shead were at the forefront of what happened to close the half, big time to close out what happened in the fourth quarter. And yeah, that was my good. Just the way that they're, dictating terms at the end of these quarters. It's really big. We know that they're a really good third quarter team in general, but the way they're closing out these crucial stretches, that's the type of stuff that like encourages you in terms of, starting to think about, what the ceiling of this team could be.
100%. My good is rebounding. They absolutely crushed it on the glass in this game, particularly on the defensive glass. Just 4 offensive rebounds allowed, a 92% defensive rebound rate in this game. For Scotty Barnes, we know he had 11 boards. He's incredible all over the place. And, the way he grabs and goes is such a huge part of how the Raptors turn their defense into offense. Jakob Poeltl, 13 boards in this game. Lots of really heavily contested ones in traffic. And then Brandon Ingram, you mentioned one of the earlier ones, just kind of skying from the mess of dudes to grab it. He's been really great on that end. Those 3 guys, they're huge. They grab lots of boards. It's awesome. And sneakily, the Raptors are now to 13th in defensive rebounding rate per clean the glass. We've kind of been looking at this defense, and I've been trying to poke and prod and think, like, what's not real here? Where's the bottom going to fall out? And one of the things was they're not so good at defensive rebounding. They may be all right at defensive rebounding. And, maybe it was just like the first 5 games where they played the Rockets without Jakob Poeltl in particular that just kind of sewered their numbers. It's encouraging stuff. There's still stuff with the shot chart and all that we got to keep an eye on, but you don't be the 4th defense in the NBA or the 4th best defense in the NBA over the course of 18 games by accident. And I think it's just crystallizing that this team's just really damn good at both ends of the floor, and it's pretty awesome. What was your bad in this game?
Yeah, the bad for me is Grady Dink. Dick is actually
Grady Dink.
Grady Dink.
He was great. He was Grady Dink last night. That's right.
We might have to change it up just so we can get out of this funk. Grady Dink. I'm not going to be able to get that out of my head for a while now.
Oh, as you shouldn't.
Grady Dick, 0 for 5. Struggled in this one and had some pretty good looks. I think that's the part where, you look at some of the looks he had, you expect him to cash in. And yeah, he's in a bit of a funk right now, has not been shooting the ball well. And in my last Raptors in 7, I noted some of the other things that he's doing. The defense is better. He's had some really nice playmaking moments with some nice passes, some nice drives and dishes, and even some nice scores in and around the basket. But with Grady Dick, the main thing is going to have to be the main thing at some point. And that's something we've talked about coming into this season. And do you know what he's shooting on non-corner threes so far this season?
Ooh, 25%.
21%.
Oh, that's not good. You should.
No, that is not. Yeah. He is 7 for 33. He's at 45% from the corners. And so it's really the non-corner shooting that has to come around. And, the funny thing is when you look at the Raptors team stats, it's the non-corner 3-point accuracy that really jumps out. And it's like, you did not see that coming. And if you did see it coming, you probably had Grady Dick being a big part of it.
Right. Right. That's like the Mamu effect right now. Like, can't miss. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I have as my bad.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like you said, the main thing has got to be the main thing. I still think a lot of the process is good. I still think he breathes life into the offense, but that's not going to keep up if he's not hitting threes and defenses start to tailor their coverages to suit that. Although for now, they still seem terrified of him, which is a good thing. But yeah, rep can only last you so long until they actually start to fall. My bad is what Scotty Barnes made Evan Mobley look like last night. I don't really have much bad for the Raptors. Grady was going to be my other one, but I'll just go with holy crap, another game where Scotty Barnes completely takes it to Evan Mobley. And particularly, I know Mobley hit a couple threes. He was 5 of 7, only took 7 shots. That's wild. 14 points for him. The couple possessions, I mean, there was the late game one where Scotty just kind of like spooks Mobley into throwing the ball out of bounds. That was pretty fun. But the one that really stood out to me was in the first quarter where Mobley just tries to go at Scotty in single coverage. Scotty just says, no, 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 slaps it away. And then Jacoby Walter comes away with it. As Mobley is racing for the ball, he just falls, and then Walter goes and dunks it. I was worried Mobley actually got hurt there. It seems like he's fine, obviously. But the ego must be hurt after Scotty Barnes just clearly staking a claim to being the better guy between the two. This sort of back and forth year-to-year oscillation between who better, Mobley or Barnes, one of my favorite ongoing storylines with these two dudes ever since they were drafted. And I think it's pretty clear Scotty Barnes has the edge this season and might just go and take that Defensive Player of the Year right out of Mobley's hands and say, it's mine now. Wouldn't that be fun? What you got for your in this one?
My is, can I, join the list of singing the national anthem at the games? Because I went to the arena and the person who was singing it this time pulled a full Doug Tranquata and sang the first line and then just gave it over to the crowd. And then I was told that it's become a theme, that this is just what's happening every home game now. And I was like, well, if that's the case, sign me up. I can do the first line and then hand it over, pick up an extra check.
You've painted yourself into a corner here, Big V. You simply cannot let this go any further without you singing the first line of O Canada on the podcast. You have to do it. Like it's not negotiable. So I give you the floor. V Tranquata, go nuts.
Oh, Canada. No, man, I'm not.
1.5 words. Audition failed. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. We're going to get you to sing full-throated at some point on this podcast. I've done it before. It's fun. It's cool. Everyone likes it when I do it. They think I'm good at singing. Let's go to the for me. When will this streak end, Big V? Is it ever going to end? Looking at the upcoming schedule, it's got some length, I think, still. The Pacers coming up on Wednesday. They stink. They're going to win that game. Then they play the Hornets on the road on Saturday. Okay, the Hornets are a little spunky last time. They also haven't won a game since last they played, and LaMelo Ball seems to be an open revolt, or maybe he's not. Who knows? Then they play the Knicks on Sunday, second night of a back-to-back. That's not ideal, but the Knicks are also not looking so great. No OG Anunoby. Is that one the Raptors can steal? Then they get the Blazers, who are mid as hell. Then they get the Lakers, who, they've been really good. Maybe that's the loss next Thursday at home. But I don't know, man. This thing could go further. They got the Hornets after that. Then the Celtics, who are cheeks. Then the Bucks, who don't have Giannis right now. And the Celtics, who are cheeks. The Nets. Then the Heat. Do they get to the 23rd of December against the Heat? Obviously, there's an NBA Cup knockout gauntlet to go through here as well. Maybe that counts or doesn't count to your win streak. Who's to say? Who litigates these things? But let me ask you, Big V, when do they lose next? They're at 8 games in a row right now. All How long does this thing go?
You can't turn me into the hater here.
I have
calling out the end of the win streak.
You sang the full damn song. I would have given you a break, but no, you didn't. So now you have to pick when they lose the game and make everybody mad.
All right, let's see. I'm gonna just say the Knicks one is tough, man. Second night of a back-to-back in New York. The Knicks, as funky as they've been, they're 8-1 at home. They've been very, very good at home. And so what I will say is this: if they can pull that one out, that I think will go down as a signature win on the season to go there on the second night of a back-to-back and get the W. I think that would be extremely impressive. But that is one that I would mark down as that's going to be a difficult game to win.
Big V says Raptors winning ways set to come crashing back to earth on podcast aggregators.
At least I have it getting to double digits.
Yeah. I'll say their next loss is actually in the finals of the NBA Cup to the OKC Thunder, who are horrifying. Everyone's playing for second this year, which is fine. It's cool. It's nice to have a big bad again, but we can save that for another day. Big V, anything you want to promote for for the good people out there. You're hating ass. What do you want to promote? There's like screeds about how the Raptors are losers coming up at the newsletter, I'm sure.
Oh, Canada.
He did it. He did it. So sweet.
I had to redeem myself.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Home and native land.
Keep going.
No.
Going.
I gave you the first line. I've redeemed myself. Just go read Raptors in 7.
Do
and
that.
Follow me on the socials at Vivek Jacob.
It's actually a newsletter about national anthems. You just write about anthems and your takes about anthems over there, which everyone should go check out. You can find me on socials, Blue Sky, mostly doing some posts once in a while, and Instagram, where we do clips and stuff. You can also join the Discord, link in the description of the podcast. We'd love to see you there. Always great to see the sickos in the sicko den. And boy, oh boy, there's never been a better time to be part of the sicko brigade over in the Discord. It's so much fun right now because they're good and winning basketball games. We'll be back again on Wednesday as our pal Zulfi Sheikh is going to stop by. Been a bit since we chatted with him, but he's going to come by. We're going to talk about something. Maybe we'll play a stupid little game. That's probably what we're going to do. So we'll see you Wednesday for that. And then we, of course, got Raptors Pacers on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that with Katie on Thursday. And then Joe Wolfon is going to come and do a deep dive on the defense for the Raptors on Friday as well. We'll leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Aw.